Hey up everybody, and welcome back. Well, we've got another introduction that was filmed 3/4 of the way through this video because I was editing it and I realised I hadn't done a start. It's very much because almost the last video and this video I did, just the work went on and on as I got things finished, parts were arriving, so everything was good. So I'm not exactly sure how far we'll get in this video, even though, as I say, we're 3/4 of the way through, because when I go back and add this in editing, it's going to be reasonably long, I think, but we're very close. So I might just keep battering on and see if we can't get finished today. So with that said, let me, I think this video is going to start with doing the valve shims, so let's get started and do them. Now then, let's see if we can get this out. I made the tool just the way they showed you in the book, and actually I had to make it a lot thinner. It's different, and I still couldn't quite get it to work. But I used to have, when I first came to the States, a Kawasaki 1100, KZ 1100, and I remember doing these with just a screwdriver. So I've already done one to try this. So what I'm going to do is use the screwdriver to push that down, and then I'm going to fit that in there. I'm going to get it all the way down and see if that works. Doesn't look like it. Worked on the other one, because part of the problem is you've only got a very small area around the edge to work with. The bucket has a little cutout. There we go. So you can get at this thing. They show you using a pair of well, maybe even needle nose pliers, but I couldn't even get them in. But what I found is you can get them out with a magnet. So let's measure this. Unfortunately, I had all of the shims from the Kawasaki and they're the same size. So let me do some measurements. See, there's a number on the back. I don't know if you can read that. On this one it says 285, and they go in, I don't know, 0.05 of a millimetre, something like that. So let me see what I've got. Now then, I've got one which I think might work. I'm supposed to put them in with the numbers down so you don't wear the number away. This thing's moved a bit. It's slipped down. There it goes. Of course, these are always the type of thing that, you know, either slip in too far or not enough. Oh, bugger. I thought I had it in there. See, that doesn't quite run in. Up, 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 up. Oh, come on, you little brute. I told you, now it's moved too far the other way. I'm using screwdrivers with little curves made into them and all sorts of things. I think there's a little tool which It's like a block thing that they actually screw onto that hole there, and it presses down. Okay, good, that's going in the right direction. There it goes. Kabong! And let's see, what have we got here? Oh, come on, there we go. That's nice. That's 9 thou. It's just a push fit, and we have 8 to 10 thou. Alright, so I've managed to get 2 of them done, but I don't think I've got a shim that will fit this middle one. But let me press on and see what I can find out. Now then, we can put this gasket on, which I notice doesn't have any extra large holes for where those 2 dowel things are, and then I can put the valve cover on. So let me grease this up, put the valve cover on, and then we'll do the exhausts, I think. Now I'm not sure if the exhaust pipes would make it awkward to get the wires and stuff on, so I'm going to do this outer cover first. So that goes on. Oil on this oil sealer. There's a little brass bush there that runs in. I better oil that. Now I tell like that runs in the bronze bush. This one, strangely enough, just runs in the aluminium. Wonder why they didn't put a bush in there. There we go. And put some screws in. So when I've got this done, we can put the points plate on. So let me turn you off, because there's a lot of screws. You don't want to see me screw it. Well, I'll rephrase that. You don't want me to see me putting these Allen bolts in. Now, the next thing to go on is our cam and advanced retard thing. Now, the centre of that is threaded, but I can't find a bolt, and strangely enough it doesn't mention bolting that in. I mean, it's got to be bolted on, surely to goodness, but you can get at it from the outside. So we'll put the point plate on, and that goes on with that nice big window for that. That actually clips in, and there's also a thing here to line it up. Screwdriver. So I'm going to put this on. The wires have little clips and things, so I'll get those put in. And it's just coming up to lunchtime. So what I'll do is, while I'm up at the house, I'll go online. I won't tighten that down yet. I'll go online and I'll see what the parts book says about bolting that on. Obviously there's got to be a bolt that goes in, and I don't see a lip or anything in there either. line that up with that to start with. I'll just tighten them down, because I'm sure there's got to be a procedure for timing this. That's just touching there. There we go. Right, as I say, that goes in. Come on now. That goes in there like thus. Now then, that one I presume goes on there. That's an 8mm one, so that's probably, let's see, that goes on, that will go on there. So I'll put these wires up and that's for the neutral switch. Oh, there it is underneath there. So that will get screwed on there. Hopefully we can get through to that. So let me put these in, tidy them up out the way, up there. And when I come back from my cup of tea and my sarnie, we'll find out what should go in there. Right, I had a little brainwave. Instead of going and looking at the parts book, because online where the pictures are never very good, or looking in the engine section, I thought, why not look in the ignition section? And sure enough, there's what we want. As you can see, it's like a big nut, a big flange nut that's got a solid bottom, and then the bottom part's just being drilled for this 8mm and a little slot for these nubs. And the idea is that goes on and locates on those. That bolt goes through and bolts this whole thing on and isn't too far proud of that. And these flats that I put a big spanner on to turn the crank for when you're timing the engine. So what I've done is I've made a washer with a slot in it so that I could just bolt this up and keep this nice and tight. But these are only about £6, about $9. So I've ordered one of them, and if I want to time the engine up before that arrives, well, I won't bother. We're a little bit ahead with these videos, so I think I've got plenty of time to order that. So that's that bit solved. I'm lying to you again. No, we won't put the exhaust on yet because I've got to put the neutral light switch on, which is under here, and I definitely won't be able to get to with the exhaust on. But this isn't rubber, so it isn't that it's gone hard, and it doesn't clip on as far as I can see, but there's no way to get to the little screw that holds that on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole in this big enough for the little screw to go through, and then when we've got it on, I'm going to fill it up with dielectric grease. That'll keep it all waterproof and everything will be fine. So let me get a small drill bit. So there's the hole, and there's our screw, which I can now get the screwdriver to. So I can put that through there. Put that onto there. Come on now, be a good boy. Ooh, hang on, I need some light. I need some light. Light. Oh, bugger. There. Now then. Gotta get in between the frame tube and the engine. Back there. And there we go. We're on. Well, isn't that bleeding clever? You can't see it, can you? Never mind. Take my word for it. It's on. So now, honestly, we can do the exhaust. Now this might lead to some cursing and swearing because it's very much a three-handed job trying to hold everything together. So I've put the new crush rings in there and greased up the bolts. So now we've got to see if we can get this on. Come on now. There's one on. So as soon as I get this on a little bit like that, I'll stick the silencer on down here. That'll hold it all in place. I don't know how much you can see of all this, but that should go to there. Oh no, that was more good luck than anything else. I managed to hit one of the bolts there. Alright, so let's pull these up a little, see if we can get I see one of these being almost impossible to get, which is strange because we got them all on before, didn't we? I wonder if I can move the wheel a bit. Hey, these ball-ended Watsits actually work, don't they? I think I can get 3 of them reasonably well, and 1 of them not well at all. Okay, this seemed to be in there. Let me move you around. Now, let's see if I can get the other one of these in. Oh. Hell's teeth! Oh, that looks quite nice, doesn't it? To stop and look at that. Alright, Now I've got to fight that last nut in on the exhaust, on the exhaust port. So let me switch you off, and I'll bring it back when we're going to go around to the other side. Right now with this pipe, what I'm going to do is put the pipe on into the silencer, tighten it up, and then get underneath and measure how long I need this flexible pipe to be. Then I can just slacken this off and pull the silencer out of the way, because this slides on its mounting. Put the flexible pipe in, so I'll put it on that side and then sort of swivel this pipe down on the fastener here and get that in, put the clips on, and actually, where is it? See, there's the flexible pipe. I found a couple of exhaust clamps I must have bought for something else, so rather than hose clips it's going to have proper clamps on it. So let me stick this one on, get it fastened into there, and we'll go from there. Now then, hopefully this one will go on much easier than the others, although I'm not going to tempt fate by suggesting that it will. We've got the crush ring in, we've got the studs greased. Well, there you go. That was relatively painless. Plus there's always the one behind the tube. Oh, and there's a tiny blob of paint there I never noticed. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, for those eagle-eyed on the other side, that tube goes very, here we've got, oh I don't know, half an inch. There's only about 1/16 of an inch from the frame tube to the exhaust, so I must admit I am a little dubious about that, but right now I'm more interested in getting this thing all put together and seeing if we can't get it started at some point. Hey, look at that! These ball-ended things are really clever, aren't they? Okay, so that's in there and in the silencer. So now I can measure across. Can you see the bottom there? No, you can't. Let me pull you back a little bit. Now I can measure across from here to here, and we can cut a piece of that pipe to go on there. So let me do that and get that joggled in. Okay, put the clamps on. Goes on there. That goes on there. See about getting the silencer on. Hang on, where's the clamp gone off the silencer? Oh, it's alright. It's gone down the pipe. Goes there, that goes there. On there. So we'll just tighten everything up and that's the exhaust on. Right, there's that one fitted, and although I say so myself, I do like the curve. Look at this little kick up at the back on the short silencer. So that's that done. I've put the that rear set on as well, the gear change. Might just want adjusting slightly. So I suppose the next thing we can do is, well, we could put the carburetors on, or we could do the ignition coils and stuff. So give that some thought and then we'll press on. Right, well, it's cold this morning, so I've had to put the heating on, so you'll have to live with the noise for a little bit. The other thing is I've come across a couple of problems. Nothing unsurmountable, but when I stripped the carbs to sort of make sure all the jets and that were clean, although they looked nice on the inside, on the outside rather, the inside was terrible, corroded, everything, so I've got to work on them. I might even end up having to get some more. See? My tightness caught me out. Anyway, so what I've done in the interim is I painted these and fit them. And I had one nasty moment when I was putting the coils on. I thought, oh shoot, will that go on? But it all fits on nicely. The other thing is, of course, I was going to just, that cross piece here, you know, again, I'm pointing at things and yes, you can see it. Well, where are we? Where was I? That cross piece that I put in here was, of course, to put the horn on, but I can't do that now, and I've got to make sure where I put this because I don't want to sort of have the mud guard come up and belt it, so I might have to put it inside or something like that. Anyway, I'll think of a way around that, and we'll get that fitted, so that's nothing. But the coils went on nicely, everything like that. So let me show you something else, which is another minor problem. Now then, got the saddle. Nicely done, all nice stitching, exactly the way I wanted it to be. So that goes on like that. And when it's screwed down to the base, everything will be hunky-dory. But I forgot something. Let me just move that. I forgot that the tank has a sloping back. So as you can see, well, can you see there? I put it at the right angle. Let me just move you over slightly. There's a little bit of an unsightly gap. I should have had him make it with an angled front. But fortunately, the way he did it, which is exactly the way I wanted, he didn't sort of make the side to stop just there. He's made the side and top long enough to fold round. So I think if I take out these, there'll be enough extra, because you can see it's stitched all the way, the side goes all the way out to here. I think I've got enough that I can put a little wedge of foam in and wrap that round, and that'll fit there. So just some minor fettling to do. So while we've got that there, let's have another little look at it. Hold your seats, I'm going to joggle you about a bit. Come back a little bit more. There you go. Doesn't look too shabby, does it? Now a while ago, whoa, God knows when the video was, I was talking about springs and I mentioned a way of getting the stiff ones on. This one is really strong, it's the centre stand, and it seems to be impossibly short. So what you do is you put it in the vise, you keep bending it all backwards and forwards, and you fill it up with washers. And this is now almost the right length. I should be able to just pop this on with a screwdriver. Next thing we might as well do is the pieces that go in the swinging arm. Now, as I mentioned, this is actually lubricated with oil, like 140 EP gearbox oil. So there needs to be a seal on each end. So what we have is we have a thick O-ring at each end. Got one in here. Let me just go around, shove this one in here ready. Then there are two discs, one on each side. So I've turned up a couple of discs out of aluminium, and then you have a rod that goes right through the centre with a nut on each end. So I've got some 1/4 inch stainless steel, and we're going to use a nice little domed nut there. So that goes on there. I'll put the one on the other end. As you can see, this is long. Now it doesn't need to be quite that long. So what I'm going to do is push this through from the other side and mark it. So that goes on. Would you believe it? This end's got a little burr on. Hold on a second. Right, now it should go through the hole. Crikey, come on, that's a 1/4 inch hole and a 1/4 inch rod. Well, isn't that weird? Isn't that completely and utterly weird? Look, 1/4 inch hole, 1/4 inch rod. Let me just go and ease these. Alright, we've got that end on. So we will slide this through here. Like thus. The nasty moment there, I thought, I bet this smacked straight into the camera. But it didn't. Right, that goes on there. If you're wondering why I didn't just cut a shorter length, it's because when you have things like this, and you sort of know you need around, say 10 inches, so you cut 11 inches off, and you leave yourself with a 35 inch piece, the next job you need a 36 inch piece. So I always like to try and cut off as little as possible, so that next time I'm set. Alright, so that's in there. Put that there. Alright, let me go and cut that off and put a bit of thread on it. Now that's cut to length and threaded. See if I can get my hand up in there to hold the other end. Dipshit, look, I'm putting the washer on and I haven't even put the disc on yet. Right, so that's going to go on there. And a washer. And then, where have I put that? Oh. It's alright, I've got another one in a drawer here. Oh, what that? Found this yesterday. Flipping neck. Sorry, I found it. Okay. Of course, now I've got to wangle my hand up there again. Go. Now I know what you're all thinking. He's forgotten the nipple, but I haven't. But I'm not sure here about getting an actual oil nipple on what size the threads will be. So I'm just doing this. Da, 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 da. All right, now here we go. So that goes in there like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is just at the side, to say I don't know how big a hole, I'm going to drill a little hole and put a nipple in. There's not a lot of room, is there? So let me go and find out exactly what sort of nipple goes in there. I've looked in the Norton manual, the Commando manual, and read a few threads on the Norton forums, and come to a plan. So the first thing is, let me mention that this isn't exactly the way the Commando parts are. It's a lot thinner rod. It's not 1/4 inch, it's 1/8, or maybe even less, you can't tell from the photographs, and it's actually threaded into, there isn't a nut on the other end, it threads into the disc at the other end. Now if any of you are wondering why it's oil in these, it's because the bushes are sintered bronze, they're not just ordinary bronze. Now sintered bronze is a porous material, it's a bit like a sponge, and it soaks up oil and in effect becomes self-lubricating. So grease fills those pores and it doesn't work. So that's why there's oil in there. So they're oiled before you put them in. So when you read the instructions, it says to, initially when you take the nipple out and you fill it up with oil, you know, under pressure somehow with an oil gun or whatever, until it leaks past the O-rings. Well, that struck me as ridiculous. If it's going to leak past the O-rings, admittedly you're pumping it in, but surely you put the O-rings and everything in to make it oil tight. So I didn't like that. And then on the forums I found out that most Commando owners, or a lot of them anyway, seem to dispense with the nipple and just put a plug in and then use something like one of those plastic syringes or an oil can or whatever to fill it up and to sort of keep it topped up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill both discs, drill it, tap it, and put, I think, a 5mm Allen bolt in, and then we'll put a fibre washer under each of these domed nuts and a little fibre washer under the Allen bolts. And then what we can do is we could take them both out and you pump the oil in here and we'll have them at the top, and when it comes out the other end you put your Allen bolts back in and through. So let me take these off, drill them, tap them, put the Allen bolts in, and of course it's Sunday, so what was I going to say? It's Sunday, so I don't have a syringe, so I can't go out and get one. Well, I suppose I could, but it's raining and it's cold, and apparently the snow isn't coming. We were supposed to get between 1 and 3 inches of snow today, but that's not coming, it's just going to rain instead. It's still bloody cold though. So let me do that, and that will be that job finished, and we'll oil it up when we put the oil in the front forks. Okay, we've done this, but I've found out why they use such a thin rod. It's because when you've got that drilled clear of this nut here, it actually is partly on the O-ring. It's not going straight through. So what I've done is I've machined into it a little channel. So now when we pump the oil in through there, it'll go through and into the whole thing. So I've done that in both of them. And there's my two little Allen bolts, so they will go in there like that, as I say, with a fibre washer on, and then that will be on there. Ooh. with a fibre washer on there as well. The through spindle, actually, the one the bearings are on, which has got holes in it for the oil to go through, at one end it's just flat like that, but at the other end comes in and then it's cone shaped like that, and that, I presume, is to give you more space here when this piece is on to have your oil going in, because there you wouldn't be able to do it. So as I say, we've now, although the hole is there, we've now got a little channel going through to take it right into the centre. So let me go and bolt these on, and that is that job done, apart from putting the oil in. And there it is in place. The other side's just identical, so when we want to fill it up, we take the little Allen bolt out both sides, start pumping it in, and when it comes out of the top at the other side, we can put them both back in, and then it'll just continue to oil those bushes.